I don't know what you do with your pain. What I know is that sometimes I seek her solution on the wrong way. And you may also look wrong. Sometimes we go to the wrong place. Sometimes we go with the wrong people. Sometimes we go to the wrong situations, wanting to solve the problems of life. It is impressive sometimes how God gives me the opportunity to get out of theory without a time mouse space. When suddenly he called me there in the corner of the stage, a very young girl. And she told me like this, "Oh priest, how good to find her here today. 4 days ago my son died. 4 days ago that I have separated my 5-month-old son. And I came, my husband, my mother, my children. We came to seek the resurrection here at the new song. So we have the strength to celebrate his 7th day. I found it beautiful because Carolina left Vargina with her whole family to come here to try to understand the averse of life. Sometimes we can't stand looking to the right side, the conventional side. We need to get in the averse. The averse support the plots of life, and it's not always easy to get to them, especially when a mother's heart needs to find out the grace to stand up, the strength to remain alive, even when everything is so contrary to her. Reconcile these opposites, these little things from everyday life. We go through the experience all the time. How many times do things happen contrary to us? Words that say to us, a look, a gesture. Now, the moment such a drama is established in our lives, losing a child, having to bury a person you generated, and has been in the world for a short time, this contrary has to realize it. You have to handle this moment of life, this flap. Sometimes I like to say that life is similar to a flap thigh, and we need to have the wisdom to find that life will not be made only of happy flaps. But wisdom also consists that we don't leave any flap out. You need to put everything to make our story complete. Carolina's pain, the pain of so many of us, and so many who watch us at this time, that maybe people we don't even know exist. You don't even know that there are those people. I don't know. You don't know. And in this process of not knowing how many people are there with the thigh of life, with the back in hand and talk, now, where am I going to sew this? Where am I going to do this flap? Since we can't throw it away. You may have already tried it. How many times have you been with the flap in your hand without knowing where to put it? How many times have you stayed there in the silence of your time, your bedroom, your living room, your kitchen? And now, what do I do with it? Carolina said she came to seek the resurrection with 4 days. 4 days of death, and the fight already wanting to settle. This is so beautiful, my people. When we run after the inside out of what makes us hurt, when we run after the inside out of what we don't understand, I won't be just this right side, just what I can see. I'll run after. Sometimes people discover the strangest paths. Some seek drugs, some seek loneliness, some seek drink, some seek magic answers. She does not. She wanted to come here. Who knows how to hear a word? Find someone? Pray a little? Be found by people who believe in the resurrection and then be touched by the force of that contrary. In this resurrection and preparing to celebrate the 7th day of Miguel's departure, oh my people, how many times have I found young drug addicts, beautiful, drugged people? Because they don't know what to do with life. How many times have you found drunk people who have turned to alcohol with terrible addiction in your life because you don't know how to live with the problems they have? Wrong paths, the wrong thing, the opposite wrong. When in fact, when death is established, that the loss is established, that suffering is established, we must seek to be as true possible. We cannot numb our soul. We cannot numb our head, our mind. No, we have to lift our heads and let's look for the solution. We can't change the fact, so we allow the fact to change us. I cannot change events, so I will allow events to change me. Do I need to giving wisdom at this time? Can my son have died in vain? Can that suffering have passed in vain for us? something we will have to learn from it. And just as Carolina came here to get some relief for this moment of pain, and perhaps reconciling the opposites that life put inside it, maybe you can do that today. I don't say anything I don't believe. I don't say anything I don't look for. It is the dynamics of this life. It is the dynamics of this program, trying to discover a spiritual direction, something that sustains us the moment it seems to be fragile within us. Don't go the wrong day you were planning today. No. Changes the direction. Don't find it in the easy solution, no. Seek, even if it's the hardest way, but look for something that can do you good. Don't go numb your head with medications, with drugs, no. With alcohol, no. Don't be numbing from bad things. Want the word that does well. Want the word of Jesus. Want the redeeming look of this wonderful God that helps us put things in place. It takes work, but it is very good. Knowing that God is on our side, helping us to reconcile the opposites. Only those who have read Father Fabio de Mello's books know how transformative they are. Make us reflect and change the way we see life. If you haven't read it yet, don't miss this big chance. Learn more by clicking on the description links. Father Fabio, fear is sometimes lack of faith. We need to distinguish well, right? Because there are fears that are positive, right? Fear is our reaction. It is a human reaction. And it's not just ours, right? The animals are also afraid, which is directly associated with protection. When I feel my life is being paid, I'm afraid. So I will protect myself. And so, if you are exposed to a risk situation, we need to be afraid. It is natural that we are afraid. It is good that we are afraid. What we can't do is make fear and that it is too decisive and we stop living because of it. Everyone is afraid. We are afraid of being alone. We are afraid of being abandoned. We are afraid of being betrayed. We are afraid of losing our job. We are afraid that will not work. All of this is experience that goes through us. When we start managing this too, you start to create hope. The only way you have to minimize the power of fear is you to feed this hope that makes us go ahead. So if I'm afraid, and if I live in an insecure city, I create my protection scheme. Faith says much more respect for a way of being because faith is an attitude. It is not a how I could say that. Every time we talk about a person of faith, we are talking about attitudes that person has to demonstrate what is faith. Faith is when you do not have all clear written data. Faith is precisely that. I don't have all the information, I'm not absolutely sure, but I trust. And when I taught in college, I treated faith a lot as intuition. What is intuition? That's when you look at a particular reality and you think so. It will work. Then someone asks you, but why do you think it will work? I don't know. I'm thinking it will work. This is an intuition. Faith. I believe it is an even more elaborate intuition. Do you know why? Because it is given to us by God. How does God give us faith? Every time we believe. Every time we put ourselves in life in attitude of faith, it increases within us. It's that beautiful optimism you perceive in the person. You know that the person has difficulties. You know that the person has 1,000 problems. They would have 1,000 and reasons to give up. But it remains standing. That's why Our Lady Mary is placed as the woman of faith. She had 1,000 reasons to be discouraged. Imagine you being on Calvary, seeing your child's crucifixion, remembering all the projects he had, everything he promised, the establishment of the kingdom, and none of that was happening. Quite the contrary. It was the full humiliation she was witnessing her son. But she believed. Maria was the woman who believed. And in many moments of her life, she has shown us the meaning of faith. She did. She acted. She wasn't a woman who was waiting for things to happen. Was she afraid? Of course she was afraid. But faith was greater than her fears. So in this respect, faith helps us deal with fears. It is the cultivation of operative hope. This is not honest. This is not fair to the protection that I am asking God. How am I going to ask? To pray. Ask God to protect me if I do not do my part of the miracle. So then all who are with me in the car will be really afraid. Then I, in an imbecile way, speak, I have faith in God. God protects me. No, but this is an imbecility. Having faith is you realize that you are settling within you a common sense attitude. The person has common sense. If you want to recognize a person of faith, just realize that. Does she have common sense to analyze things? Are you a balanced person? Is it a person who really gives advice? What is in accordance with the situation? Because the experience of faith is all that, my people. It's attitude. It's existential. Faith is existential. That is, it goes through our existence all the time. All that is proper to our lives. And when we live this process of faith, well, fear is when we have that conscience. I prayed and asked God, but I didn't study to take the test. So I go to the test with fear. It does not go with faith. Now, if I study, if I do my part and ask God to happen all the way, then I'm not afraid, even if I don't pass. Yesterday, I was saying this to a friend of mine. She was anxiously asking God for something, and I told her like that, be careful. That you may be asking God for what is not His will. But how will I know what is His will? I don't know. Put it in His hands, do your part, and if it doesn't work, welcome what didn't work out as a will for your life. This is a big problem, right? Sometimes we pray asking God what we want, but not always what we want is the best for us. If you offer food to a child and show her that she has chocolate cake and has a green salad, of course she wants the chocolate cake. It's much more pleasant. Now I ask, what is best for this child? The chocolate cake or the green salad? If you are listening to what your child asks, you will give the chocolate cake. But if you meet according to his need, you will give the green salad. And sometimes in our prayer life, the same thing happens. We are insistently asking God for the chocolate cake, but He knows that for our lives, the best is the green salad. Make the effort to happen, but if it doesn't work, rest. Don't be embittered a little, because sometimes God is depriving us of many things. Sometimes God is holding many things so that it does not happen there. And precisely because of that, it's not the best for us, but this tranquility we need to have.